when good movie reviews took over the internet.
This situation must be controlled before it's too late.
When bad beer filled the fridges.
People have got to start to fight back and hard.
They came to clean it up. YouTubers, podcasters, and viewers, beware.
Is this a homicide or a bad B movie?
Starring Lee Barker, Nathan Pinkering, and introducing Ben Arnold in Beer and Bad Movies.
Hello, welcome back. This is the fourth episode, I believe, of Beer and Bad Movies. I'm here with these two beautiful bastards as always. So it's Mr. Nathan Pickering and Mr. Lee Bartlem.
Hello.
Yeah.
Bye.
So we've gone off kilter a bit here with this one. It's not horror. It's not action. Well, it's kind of action, but it's more family friendly, isn't it? This is rated a U, I believe. Yeah. And I'm sure people will know this, even if they've never seen it. They'll know of it. Anyone who knows Arnold Schwarzenegger will probably have heard of this film. And it's Hercules in New York.
Do we all have to do that?
Yeah, to flex them. Yeah,
okay.
That's sweet. So this is a nice little film, and we're going to just, instead of like doing what we normally do, because we've had a bit of criticism off some friends, and we all feel like we need to cut these videos down a bit, make it a bit tighter. So we're just going to do them a little bit shorter, not delve in as deep, just give us a little opinion. Obviously, we're going to pair his beer as usual, so we'll keep it a bit shorter in length. And to kick us off with just a little rundown on this film, I'll just hand over to Lee, and he can give us the stats and just a little intro to it.
Yeah, no worries. Let's get going. Hercules in New York. I'm going to assume most people might have heard of it. I definitely heard of it, and I didn't even care about it growing up. But if you know anything about Arnold Schwarzenegger, then you definitely would have seen this at some point, maybe in a list of films, and just gone, what is that? And then just never watched it. I think that's the case for a lot of people. Hercules in New York. So after many centuries, Hercules gets bored living in Olympus, because of course you would, wouldn't you? The home of the great Greek gods, and decides to move to, New York. But obviously, it's not easy for a man who lived in ancient Greece to get used to modern life. So things get a little tricky, especially when Zeus sends a few gods to bring his semi-god son back to Mount Olympus. That is the basics of what's going off. Obviously, there's a lot more to it regarding the ends, but that's your basic storyline.
Yeah. So this was released in 1970, wasn't it? So
was it 70? Yeah, I've got 69 stuck in my head, but I'm assuming that's when it was. That's when it was made, wasn't it? And then released. It was released 1970. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
so it's it's an older one than we'd go for, but I love old films, so I'm used to all this. Maybe you two aren't as used to watching old films, so acting might be a bit hokey and a bit different. But
you say that, but when I was a little one, I used to go to my grandparents a lot, and I watched a lot of old films. But I'm talking old war films, like proper old school. Like we're talking like Cary Grant sort of stuff.
Yeah, I love that shit.
It wasn't that long ago when I'd sat down at the TV and I'd just skipping through, and I came across one, and I was like, I wouldn't normally watch it, but because I felt this kind of connection, I'm like, I've watched a lot of these. I just ended up watching it, and I was like, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. They're a very different breed of film to what you see now. Even more, they're even very different to what like Hercules in New York is. Like you say, you like your old films. When you said that, I was just thinking that you like your old 60s, 70s crap. But
no, I love 30s, 40s, all noir. I absolutely love noir films.
Yeah, going back to the films of long ago. I mean, looking back at it now, a lot of the films that my grandparents would watch, they would even be before when they were little, because they were born early 30s, and like it was like 30. I think it was 32 and 34. I think they were born, and like they used to watch films from the 30s and the 40s, and just to love them all the time. Some new ones, don't get me wrong, but they watched a lot of old films. But I think when we look at ourselves now, I watch a lot of, I'll watch 80s films and enjoy them, and I'll watch 90s films and the noughties films or whatever. I think when when we look at our grandchildren, if we ever have grandchildren, and we'll be watching them, and they'll be like, "What are you watching these old films for?" And I'm like, "Well, this is what I grew up watching," and I think that's probably the case for my grandparents and maybe your grandparents as well.
Yeah, I think everyone should watch some old films and appreciate them because they are a different breed, like I said.
Even just the classics. If there's a list of like top 10 old films, like just throw yourselves at those.
I could do another podcast on old noir films and stuff like that, but we'll leave that for another day.
I don't think we did a lot of noir films. I'm thinking there was a lot of like, "Hey, what are you looking at, boy?" And there'd be like a detective in a seedy like office, like the sort of thing you'd find in Star Trek Next Generation when Picard would be playing that. What was his name? What was the character? Can you remember it?
Yeah, I can't remember.
If someone said it, I'd be like, "That's it," and but off the top of my head, I can't remember. Anyway, sorry, Ben, carry on.
Yeah, so just so we stay on topic a bit here, we'll just Arnold in Hercules, New York is 1970, so obviously it's his actual screen debut, I believe. So just before we dig into the film, we'll start with his beer choice for this one. So as we all know, we've all been flexing. And we know Arnold's in this film, and we know that Arnold's strong. And I think in this film he's actually he's credited as Arnold Strong because they couldn't handle an Austrian name for some reason. But
It's scary. It's foreign. It was do you know what I mean? It was the 70s. They were just getting off all them nasty communists, and it would have been like, oh.
Yeah, but they tried to say that his surname were too long, but he's credited as Arnold Strong, Mr. Universe, which that's probably about the same amount of letters or more. So not that much.
No one would have in the 70s. No one would have been able to say Schwarzenegger. That's what I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
So going off that, we've got the criteria for this beer is obviously we're going for a strong beer, so we're going for high ABV. I did say it at 10%, but I do think if you're looking in supermarkets or like that, you probably struggle to find a lot of 10% beers. So,
I haven't had chance to fish about.
Yeah,
for
it's hard.
Random beer shops, but I have found something I've been wanting to try for a while, so I've got it ready.
Right, we've dropped it to 8% minimum on this one. Obviously, 10% would be preferred. Like Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's definitely a 10% if he were a beer and that above. So I've been trying to rack my brains when Nathan said he'd bought a beer, and I've been like, is it this style, Because I really want to know what his beer is. So I'm going to ask Nathan first because I don't know what this is. I had a good guess that it were a barley wine, so I'm going to ask Nathan what he's drinking and what he's chose.
Right, so I give Ben the clue of not beer as mine because
It's whiskey.
No, it's beer because you can't deviate from beer, and it's beer and bad movies, and it is in fact a barley wine.
Yes, I said that one as well.
Yes, I know you did. It's Turning Point's Heavy Dreams, and I think that goes perfect with it. It's 11%, so it's like super strength like Hercules. It's I'm working tomorrow, so I'm going to be smashed. I'm driving to work in like 8 hours and all. Yeah,
it's going to get to where just fall through the door.
Yeah, I've not had much to eat, and I'm already quite tired from being away today. But this is going to knock me on my arse, I think, like he would in the film. Heavy dreams, so heavy lifting, and he's on his dream to be an actor, so it's got double meaning. So I thought that works pretty well. I've already poured it because I took a photo of it, and it's lost its head. But look, I don't know if you can see how dark that is. That is ridiculously dark. I'll pour a little bit so you can see somewhere head on. Not that that's working. No, well, you didn't get a head on it, but let's have a taste. Get in the wine.
Yeah, whilst he's drinking it, just to clarify, a barley wine isn't a wine; it's a beer. It's fermented with wheat and stuff and malt. It's just called a barley wine because it's high in strength and it's quite sweet.
So you've not got a beer, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
No, it is a beer.
No, it's a beer. They just market it as a wine. Yeah. It's
not even marketed as a wine. We all know it's a beer. We all know it's a beer, but it's called a barley wine.
Yeah, they marketed it as barley wine in whenever they invented it in 20s or something, because of the high ABV, and people obviously wanted to get pissed because of prohibition and shit. So, but it is obviously not a wine; it's a beer. Same beer process you would make anything else.
Yeah,
it's just extremely thick and strong, and it is delicious.
Like Arnie in the 70s, probably.
Exactly, his accent especially was very thick and very strong. I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit, but it is a nice one. It's definitely not a sessionable. It's
depends what kind of session you're having, doesn't it?
Well, I think that this is the session. The entire glass is just one session, and then it's out the window. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish it, but it is very nice, and I'm glad I chose it over a stout because I got a little bit more ABV out of it like I wanted. I did buy it from York. I can't remember the name of the shop. What's the shop, Ben?
House of Trembling Madness.
House of Trembling Madness, quite a famous beer shop. And it's nice. Who wants to talk about their beer next?
I'll let Lee. Lee can dig in. I'm kind of guess Lee's as well, which I think I'm right about.
What is it?
Delirium.
Wrong.
Wrong.
But that was what I was going to do until you put that stupid laughing crying emoji. Then I went, screw Ben and his stupid laughing crying emoji. I'll get a different beer. I was going to have that one. But I don't like laughing crying. I've got Nathan knows all about it. It's fine.
Well, I'll be posting them a lot then.
Yep, and I will never ever comment in the chat group again. It's one way to get rid of it. So I've got... I'm not even joking. So we did have a chat group. What was it? The Fathers of the Void one, didn't we? And I banned various emotes from that group, and then when somebody put them a couple of times, I actually deleted them from the group, and I had to let them back in. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Make sure you get. Have you got a nice picture of that on that Instagram?
Yes, it's on Instagram. I forgot to talk about the art, so I thought while you're talking, I'll slowly rotate it.
That is actually really nice. I quite like that.
Yeah, it's like a Star Wars inspired one.
Yeah, I'll have to have a better look at it. So this beer I've seen in Tesco loads of times, and I've always wanted it, but I'm a cheapskate and I never like spending like more than £3 on a can of beer. But I did on this occasion. I did. Well, my wife did. I was at work and I went, "Get this beer," and she's like, "This one." I'm like, "That one. Put it in the fridge."
I need to show Ben and his laughing crying emojis. That's what it were.
That's the one. My anger is overspilling from my workplace down the road into Tesco, into their beer aisle. So there's quite a few people that don't like this brewery, and I've seen a lot. I don't fully understand why. Ben, maybe you do.
It is now. I know
and this combines two things I like. I like beer. Don't get me wrong. I do like beer. I like a stout. I do like a stout. And I like coffee. And this is called, I don't know if this is going to, I don't know how well it's going to do it, but it is Roaster Coaster.
Yeah.
Don't know how. Maybe you should focus here. I don't know. I'll take a picture of it and I'll stick it on now at some point around now. Which I think we should do with all our beers. I'll get a little picture up so we can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roaster Coaster. So it's a Nitro Imperial Vietnamese coffee stout. Just that, just those words were just enough for me to think, at some point, I need to try that. Don't you agree that sounds something that needs a try? I mean, I like coffee, I like beer, I like stout, whatever, we'll go for it. It's Bulldog versus Evil Twin. So it's Evil Twin Brewing and then obviously the Brewdog. I won't go into too much, but I'm down for this. Store cold, drink fresh. Right, let's...
What's the ABV on it?
My apologies. I said to myself a second. 9%.
9%. Strong one then.
Respectable as any beer. Like, if you was going to buy a beer, you wouldn't go, "Oh, 9%, I love that." No. You buy that as an experiment to taste it, not to... You won't buy several of them, would you? So... Shit the bed. Okay. I can smell. Oh my God. Immediately I got hit by coffee. But then it's drifted away. I've got my nice glass. Ben, do you like my glass? It's nice. It's not very in focus.
It's certified by me.
Thank you.
It's got the Arnold stamp of approval.
That's all I needed.
Just whilst you're talking about glasses, if you're interested in beer, you always want a glass where it's a wider base and a thinner top, because that lets all aroma come up, like all our glasses.
Oh, okay.
So that is a good choice of glass.
People don't realise that glasses are paired with alcohol for specific reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of Belgian beers are specific glasses.
Yeah, like the brandy glasses which you hold in your hand and warm up. People just don't understand. Right, that's poured horrendously, and I've poured potentially thousands of drinks in bars. I had no clue how this was going to pour. I'll be quite honest with you. But coming out of the can, it was very sort of heady, very foamy. So I think
because it's nitro infused.
Yeah, I think I was kind of screwed right from the beginning. It was never going to be a straight up easy pour, but that's what it's looking like so far, and still smells amazing. Right, did you describe how yours tasted, Nathan? Did you?
Strong. That's
right. There we go. That's all we need.
Yeah, it's very strong tasting. I'm not getting much else from mine. It's not a complex one. It's a strong one.
Oh, so it's just like that's strong. I get it. Right, so okay, the smell's gone. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so nice. That hang on. Oh. If you just listen to the audio of this, I'm sorry. Oh my god. Right, I took a gulp. Ooh. You know, like when you have like a whiskey and coke or something, like a spirit with a mixer. It has that kind of feel to it in terms of the alcohol. Yeah, it's warm. I can feel that. That's going down. That's warming me. The coffee is there. It's smooth. It's thick. I keep thinking chocolate. That's what it says to me. It's like you know, because coffee and chocolate are kind of very, for me, like a strong coffee and a strong chocolate. They're very similar, aren't they? They have that kind of similar
very
warmth to them. That is some good shit. Roaster coaster, 100%. I would definitely be getting another one of those.
So
yeah, that's nice.
9%.
9% roaster coaster. I got it at Tesco. If you can't find it anywhere else, it's the strongest one that they do as well. I had a little look through.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I'm very pleased you decided to go for that strong beer and that I tried that one. And I'll have that delirium at some other point. But yeah, that's good. That
sweet. So I think.
Sorry, I got a bit into that then. That's taken over my soul. That was.
We liked it.
Yep.
I think Nathan's won in this strongman competition then, because this is definitely the highest ABV.
Well, I mean, the fact that he can't taste it though is a bit miserable. I feel that's a bit of a it's a bit of a letdown. It'd be nice to have a bit of a taste to it, but
you normally get
if we're just going on strength, then it's fine.
Yeah, there is a sweetness there, but it's very much overpowered by the strength.
Is it something you'd buy again?
Probably not. I'm not saying it's not nice. It's just I would want something a bit more sessionable.
How much was it?
£4.90.
So mine was about £3.50. I think it wasn't 4. It wasn't 2. I think it was about. I was going to go for a safe number as £3.50. So Ben, it's your turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Wowers.
I've gone bang on 10% ABV with this. I've gone for one of the UK's best breweries. They're especially the best at brewing like IPAs and pales and stuff. I'm actually going to the brewery tomorrow because I'm going on holiday and I'm visiting this place. So I've got Daya, which is based in Cheltenham, and it's called Pure Unadulterated Luxury, which is a triple IPA. So basically, a triple IPA is just a big ass pale ale.
Terrible art on that.
Terrible? It's classic. Daya, classic.
You'll have to post a picture. I can't see your cameras, by the way, so I'm working off your descriptions.
It's not an horrible can, Nick.
No.
Mine's just like got colours on it.
It's just a classic pale. It's classic hazy pale ale, but when you're getting into triple IPA territory, which everyone abbreviates to tipper, as you'll probably see on can. Well, Nathan,
I don't like that. Can I just call it triple IPA?
No, it's a tipper. No. You get a tipper and you get a dipper, which is a double IPA.
A dipper?
Yeah, these have become more popular recently, but
A Tripper Dipper.
there's something you might have now and again. They can be boozy, but when you get a triple IPA, they normally the booze overpowers the fruit. This does smell fruity. This smells just like Citra in a can. It's definitely got Citra hops in it, which is a common hop. But yeah, 10%. Chilling with Arnold. You know what I mean? Hercules might drink this back in back on Mount Olympus. Quite sunny, I think.
With loads of like birds around him, and the birds is a bit sexist. Sorry, with his ladies all around him in their like bed sheets.
But yeah, that's not bad. That's definitely the booze is not as powerful as it normally is. I mean, you can taste it. You always get a bit of like hot burn when you get triple IPAs, which is like a burning sensation when they're quite fresh. But,
I've never tried a triple. I've had a triple IPA. I'm not a big fan of IPAs, as I've already told you like loads of times. But one of my favourite beers was that one we had. I can't remember which one it were. The Neon Raptor one.
Deadly Prey, wasn't it?
Oh, Deadly Prey. That was a dipper, and that is one of my favourite beers. That was so nice, and to say that I don't normally like IPAs, that's a double one. Maybe I'd like the triple one.
I think it were a West Coast, whereas like most hazy ones, they're like East Coast. They're more fruit. I would add a bit West Coast, bit more bitterness. But yeah, that's 3 beers down then. So we've got 10%, 11%, and 9%. So a nice little across the board.
We're all going to be pissed.
Yeah. Well, I'll be getting pissed a bit longer after this, I think, and all. So, yeah, beers out of the way. We're all on board with them strong beers, and Lee especially with his.
Oh, it's really nice. It's really nice.
So let's just dip into this film. I'll start by asking.
I'm sorry, Nathan. Did I put you off there? Sorry. So carry on, Ben. Sorry.
I'll just
start. I can't see you as well.
Don't look at me. I'm just laughing. You'll just end up laughing more. Okay, Ben, back on track. Ben, go for it. Ben's getting really angry now.
Yeah. I'll just start by asking, like, which version you both watched. I want you to both say that you watched the American dub version, like
Yeah, so I did watch. Oh, well, I already said earlier, didn't I? But we'll do it for here. So I'd looked at some clips of Hercules, and it was all with Arnold's voice, which we're very familiar with. And even in this early film, I think it wasn't too bad to listen to be fair. His English is very good. Strong, thick accent, but I still think his English is fairly good. But when I got my hands on the film, it was the dubbed one with an American voice, and I won't lie. For maybe the first 10 minutes or so, I felt a bit disappointed, like I'd been cheated. But eventually, I just got used to it, and I think the dub is also quite good because obviously he's speaking English and it's an English voice. Sorry, it isn't obviously an American voice, but sorry, he was speaking English and it was the words are the same, so it does very nicely over when he's talking. So I ended up just accepting it and taking it as it was, and I just enjoyed it. To be fair,
yeah. I'm gonna say that I actually preferred this American Arnold dub. Like I don't think I can go back to Arnold after this. As much
you
as
want
I
that
love
for
him,
every film, every Arnie film. You want him dubbed by that same man.
As much as I love Arnie, this dub were amazing. But I believe they did redub it later on when Arnold become a bit more famous, and they put his voice back in it. But they were all like traffic sounds and stuff because it were badly recorded, wasn't it? Because it were always meant to be dubbed.
I was going to mention that. I've actually I did have a note about that later. But so Nathan? Did you watch the dubbed one as well?
Yeah, I watched the dubbed one. I knew beforehand. I knew that it was dubbed, and I'd already seen sort of clips. You know, like the "I'm tired of the same old faces, the same old things." That little line it says at the beginning.
Yeah.
Seen like comparisons between. So I knew that it were a dubbed film, and I like just before we started recording, I sent you that video, and it's like an 11-minute video. I think the film's an hour and 31 or something, and that 11 minutes actually that's all of Arnie's dialogue in the entire film. So he already did like 11 minutes of dialogue. So there's only 11 minutes dubbed if you condense it down. And just me watching it, I would have to say I wouldn't be able to watch the undubbed version. Because it's ridiculous. I think the dub adds charm to it. I think it adds an extra point or two to my rating to this because it makes it cheesy and crap in a way that it is good.
It makes it. It's like it adds a unique element to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just shows you don't know what you've got, like, as well, because they've obviously got Arnie, which everybody knows who he is, and they've got him as like a diamond in the extremely rough, and they've had to dub him, and they don't know that he's going to be big. But I mean, they obviously capitalised in it later on when they're selling Blu-rays and stuff, and like the main draw was that it was undubbed. Do you know what I mean? Because you get to hear him, but I think it for me, I think the dub version is the superior one. I mean, at some points in it, like I said, the scene in the taxi, you couldn't understand what he was saying. If he was saying more than 3 words, it would just mumbled into nothing. So yeah, for me, the dub would be the better one.
Yeah, so that's recommended if you do want to watch it. Watch it with the dub, as it was intended.
Well, to be fair, I didn't know which one I was getting.
Yeah.
So it was. I just took what. It's like the only thing I had. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't have had the option of switching. So, but it would have been interesting to have had the other side to the conversation in regards to his voice. But no, it's all good. Watch the dub once. Just do it. It worked. It works. So just watch it. You know what I mean?
We'll all agree that the dub is good, and that was quite a good point to the film. I don't. Lee didn't mention it earlier, but looking on IMDb, it's actually rated this film at a 3.3. Which
sorry, yeah.
I just cannot get my head around this. No. That it's rated at 3.3. I mean, I've seen so many bad films, and this is not a 3.3.
We watched a few of them.
We are.
For the last week at work when he found this out, he's just been pacing up and down, fretting. But why? Why is it a 3.3?
I was like Arnold with that thing. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you were so angry about this, going mad about it's a 3.3, and then listing off alt films. Well, this one I think is not as good as this, but this has got an higher rating, and it's I think it is worth more than a 3.3, even just for badly dubbed.
Just
that's worth it on its own.
For throw it out there, I enjoyed this film more than the new Wonder Woman film.
Exactly.
And the Ghostbusters film that I don't like to mention that came out a few years ago.
Exactly.
I enjoyed it more than that, and they were considered to be half decent films.
Exactly.
By some people. When I say some people, I mean not the people I associate with. But they're just some people are like, oh, they're really good. Oh, it's really... I'm like, it's not as good as the Arnold Schwarzenegger film from 1970. 100%.
So to get this out there. To get this out there, we're going to set this record straight, and we're going to prove that it's more than 3.3. So I'll ask. We'll start with you, Lee.
Okay.
We like I said, we're going to not jump into the film too deep, but I just want to see what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and your overall perception of it.
So I'm a sucker for writing notes. I like to scribble as I'm watching it. I have a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm just like, ooh, well, what is that? And then I'll just like write it down. So one thing I noticed at the beginning, I mean, as an overall thought on the film, I think it's clearly, I don't want to say poorly made, but it definitely oozes. They didn't put as much effort as they could have done in it. But then again, he was a bit unknown apart from his bodybuilding. So I guess ultimately it was a risk, wasn't it, having him in it? I think he works really well because there's not a lot of other people who are like that big. And when he walks around, he's walking around New York, and he's just like this massive chunk of a human being. And even when the other actors are with him, you can tell they're like, shit, he's massive. You can see it. They can see it in their head. They're thinking it, and it's quite nice to see these puny humans that are clearly just going, oh my god, he's huge. There was a very good scene when he's it's quite an early on scene, not that ridiculous scene when he's fighting the people on the boat outside the boat. That is just stupid. But you need it because he meets that little dude, doesn't he? Arnold Stang. But there's a scene when he's chucking a discus and a
Yeah.
javelin. I like that scene, but the other guys that are on there, you look at him and like, is this just what they consider to be like fit guys, as in athletically fit? Because I'm like, they're just these tiny little humans. Was it purposely done for them to be small and just pathetic looking, or was that the standard in 1970? Was that like, oh, that's an athletic human being there, we need him to put up against Arnold? It would have been nice to see maybe some slightly bigger guys. Although you do see one later on, don't you? Monstro.
Do you know as you're saying that like he's very big and everyone's like not really bothered about him, but like everyone squares up to him a lot. Like to say he's a great big dude, he seems to get like everyone just wants to fight him, and it's like in real life you would not be squaring up.
So I'll mention a few of the good things. I'll jump on a few bad things. Feel free to butt in whenever. I like the separate scenes and the settings. I like how they jump to, Zeus chatting away about it, and there's this like random scenes where he's like staring at the ground going, "Oh, Hercules, I knew you'd be trouble," and it's just like,
Tea is served.
Well, I knew it. Doesn't surprise me a bit.
all right. But I like that. I like the two different things. Although I did notice that clearly those scenes are being filmed in Central Park.
Yeah.
And at one point later on, I did write a note on it. There's at the end they're in Central Park filming the Zeus conversation. You can clearly hear cars in the background. And I'm like, are they really up on Mount Olympus? Are they really like, and it's like, and it's like, you can clearly hear. It wasn't. I don't think they put that much thought into the recording, or they just fluffed it. Totally, just fluffed it. But I quite enjoyed that. I like how he's constantly being like sort of offended by stuff. How dare you? I am Hercules.
No, it's just for college guys. No outsiders allowed.
I am Hercules.
And it's every other conversation is like, who do you know who you're talking to? It's like, are you an idiot? You've been up in basically like heaven, this kind of place that's untouchable by normal human beings. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody. If a god, let's say there is a god, we'll just go for argument's sake, there's a god, right? Okay. Comes to Earth and is just walking around going, I'm God. Don't you know who I am? People are just going to be like, all right, mate, carry on. Off you go. I haven't got any change. Sorry. You know what I mean? How is it any different? I like how he's very impressed because obviously he eats that woman and they go out, don't they? And he uses a vending machine. I love how he's very impressed at that. But is it a cob?
No, it's a sandwich, but it's on a bread cake.
Is it a sandwich? Yeah. So this vending machine spits out cobs and sandwiches, and he's just like, "What? Just for a few small coins, you get this?" It's like that's just the cheapest sandwich from Sainsbury's or Tesco. Like the cheese one that's 99p. That's the worst looking sandwich. And
It's on a plate with cling film over top and all. It's like
it's terrible.
This fine food for only a few small coins. Those who run this place must be public benefactors.
Some bad points that I picked out and just when I was watching it, they irritated me. It's like there's a Spanish guitar going off for quite a large portion of the beginning. And it's like, it's just, what is it? Just, does it ever stop? It's just, I'm just sitting there going, oh. I did write down on my notes, I didn't like the voice, but ultimately that was early on. And we all know that, I've changed my opinion on that. I do think the voice was relatively appropriate, and I'm fine to go away with it. Everyone is an argumentative asshole. Everyone is like up for a fight with him. The slightest problem, like when he talks to that woman, he's like, "Oh, is that your boyfriend?
Is he your lover?"
My what?
It's like, how dare you talk to her like that? It's like, just asking a fucking question. Just, is it your boyfriend? Is that your boyfriend? It's a beautiful woman. If you're with a man, that should be your boyfriend. And it seemed, to be honest, I'm watching it thinking, that's legit. If you see someone, if you see a woman and a man together,
because he says, "Is that your lover?" Dirty pussy.
Of course. Yeah,
Is that your lover? Does he make love to you?
Isn't it? But still, like, if I was that guy, I'd be like,
yeah.
Yeah. And then just look at her. Any reaction? The excuse to take the top off I found a bit annoying. Like, I've got to throw a javelin. Wait a minute. Let me just take this top off.
And when he goes like boom boom with pecs.
Boop, boop, boop. I know. It's just ridiculous. There's a guy that there's a scene I thought was ridiculous when it was that lover scene and he hits him like twice in the stomach.
You have struck Hercules.
Literally just like he's punching a wall and he's like, shall we take it outside? What are you on about? What are you on about? Absolutely. I think there are scenes that are just stupid and haven't been thought through well enough. But I think they carry the film enough to be. It's like, is it taking its? I can't decide whether it's taking itself serious or not, or is it supposed to be a tongue-in-cheek seriousness? There's bits which are just that looks crap. Is it supposed to look crap? Or are they trying to make it look like real? Like you know, when he's holding those two big like pipes at the end, they're like big concrete pipes or something, and he's like pushing them, and he pushes them down. Some guy just like falls over, and it's like he falls over nothing. I'm like, did they not think I might redo that scene because that looks rubbish? There's bits of it which, yeah, they're bits of trash, and it's annoying. The one other point I wanted to mention was Monstro. Now, there's a black guy in it who's another bodybuilder or like a weightlifter, isn't he? And he's actually pretty big. I believe he was actually some sort of champion of some kind of weightlifting bodybuilding competition as well. Because he's not Arnold, but he's very close in that kind of bulk that he's got. I don't even remember the scene. And I was looking at him thinking, I know him from somewhere, but I'm not sure what's going on. So I looked him up. His name's Tony Karl. And he played... So, you know the live-action He-Man with Dolph Lundgren?
Oh, yeah.
He played Beastman in that.
The Beastman.
Just a bit of a random one. I know. And when you look at Beastman, there's heavy makeup. But it's like, maybe... Is that where I know him from? But and I think it's not. But on a sad note, Tony Karl, the actor, actually died when he was only 41, which wasn't that much long. I think it was like 19. It was mid 80s because of obviously He-Man came out in the mid 80s, didn't it? So, but yeah, I was reading. I was like, I was a bit sad that he'd, even though he had no real impact on my life, it was a bit sad to see that he. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those. He did. He's dead. Fuck. Yeah. It's a bit like that, but yeah, a bit sad there. But as an overview of what I thought, as a general opinion to the film, I quite liked the end. I thought it was quite good. I didn't hate the ending, which helps with films with me. If the ending's crap, I can't like the film. Does that make sense? It's like, well, you ruined it. Like if you watch it's like Game of Thrones. Got to the last season, watched the last couple of episodes, and I was like, don't really like it anymore. It just felt like that. But this kind of, I think, worked quite well. And I'd love to see a modern remake of it and see how they dealt with it all. Just as a new Hercules in New York, but something. I know. They're not gonna. I know. Ben, shut up. But I'd like to see a reimagining of it without Arnold. But then again, maybe you can't do it without Arnold. I'll leave my rating of the film until later. I enjoyed a lot of the scenes. I thought it was okay. It wasn't terrible. I did manage to watch it without thinking I don't want to watch it, which happened very much with the first film that we watched.
That's a fair
struggled through that. I am not struggling through another film again. If it's rubbish, I'm just not watching it. But yeah.
So yeah,
not too bad. We'll roll on to the ending, and then we'll see what scores we'll give it. I guess.
So we'll ask Nathan then what like same sort of thing, highs and lows, general.
Right. I'll make mine fast because I'll start with my overall. Actually, overall, I liked it. I did like this film. I did enjoy this film. It's not the best film I've ever watched. It's definitely not a 3, or 3.3 or whatever it were.
Ooh, that beer kicks sometimes. Oh, that got me. That did.
That's
sorry.
That coffee hit, and I've been racking my brains trying to think of a low point, and I honestly can't really think of one. I've got a few niggles, but the high points for me is his best mate, Pretzi, or whatever he's called, named because he sells pretzels.
Mine is Pretzi. Well, they call me Pretzi because, you see, I sell pretzels on the waterfront there.
Who sells pretzels? Who does that on the docks?
Him, he's all them burly sailors.
Oh my god, they call me Pretzi because I sell pretzels on the dock.
Yeah, with his little newsboy cap on and his like basket and that.
I love Pretzi. Just put it out there. I love Pretzi.
He's the highlight of that film.
I like it when he's talking to the radio.
Yeah, and he's like all like causing up, you know, like
Hercules, are you there, Hercules?
And he's like pressing the different buttons. There's people going to be looking at going, what's he doing to that box?
just tell Lee then, and tell everybody else that who Pretzi is, because Lee were racking his brains about this.
That voice. Just to say, that voice. I didn't look him up, which is something that people do quite a lot of. But I was watching it, I'm like, I know that voice, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's all about.
Yeah, it's the whole entire way through the film. I'm like, I know him, but where do I know his voice from? And I will rack him out of brains, but I couldn't help myself and I had a look. He is actually Top Cat. You know the person that voices Top Cat.
Officer Dibble! Excuse me, folks, I gotta go water the elephants.
So that's why you know his voice so well, because he's TC.
Get out!
Yeah, you go. You can hear it though now.
Yeah.
You get it.
Rewatch some of his scenes and it's like Officer Dibble, and he's like a fucking knows. It's definitely top cat. Like
I need to look it up after. Oh no!
Yeah,
I didn't get Top Cat. I'm not getting it.
What? As soon as Nathan told me, I was like, "Yes, that's it." I knew him.
Yeah.
It's like Joe when he gets out of taxi and he's like, "Well, what do you know?" And that it's right like Top Cat, isn't it?
Yeah,
man.
He's proper Top Cat. It's like because his voice is right. Like I can't remember what they bill him as. Niddish, I think it is. Like nerdy Yiddish. He plays them sort of parts with that sort of voice because he's obviously playing like a Jewish person, and he is a Jewish person, not that he's playing one, but he's got that like sort of that sort of accent, and he brings a charm to the film. I mean, he's like a down and out loser with no money. It was like,
I sells pretzels.
Yeah, he sells pretzels, but they're not even his pretzels. They're like second-hand ones he's bought from a bakery. So he must be earning like 2 cents on the pretzel.
Did you even see a pretzel? Was there even a pretzel?
Yeah, right. His whole livelihood, his whole business, he leaves it in front of that taxi and that taxi gets flipped and he just doesn't even go back. He never go. He's like, my pretzel days are over. I'm moving on to wrestling.
Yeah. Don't you think
I'm sticking with Herc.
Don't you think that Hercules struggled with that taxi?
Yeah, because it were a taxi. He didn't know where it were. He didn't know where
I feel like he should have just gone like boof, and it should have flipped like several times. That would have been a lot better.
Is a demigod?
They didn't have enough money in budget.
They didn't have the budget for that, did they?
He's a demigod, though. We'll let him off.
Got you.
Yeah, he's not a full god. So, but Pretzi, he made the film for me. He made me keep wanting to watch it. I found Hercules' character. He's probably the lowest point for me. It's nice to have Arnie, but like Lee said, he's an arsehole. Like he's like you think he'd have some sort of understanding. I mean, he's got every person he talks to. He's got at least 1,000 years on. that you think he would have like all this knowledge or something, but he's like, I don't know what money is, and you said this, I'm Hercules, and it is a bit like when he gets mad at that poster.
Oh look, you're famous.
That's not Hercules. And who is that monster who looks as if he has come straight from the kingdom of the underworld?
That's a bit stupid, you know, when he sees that someone's playing him Hercules in a play or
Trivia
something.
about that poster, that was the original poster for the film, wasn't it? One of the original posters, but they like messed it about a bit so they could put it up there. And it gets me. That doesn't look like me. How dare... I'm like, it fucking looks just like you.
Yeah,
it's you. Muscle-bound white guy just kind of going, whoo, like that. 100% you. What nonsense.
Just to say, because you say that were a low point, I like that he was so like, he was juvenile and he was like a troublemaker. I like that. I don't know. He just had something about him. Like, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't break the film for me or anything, but it just I'm struggling to find low points for it because that is the lowest point. It just irked me a little bit when he was like there's a scene right at the beginning because it gets dropped into the sea. And then he gets saved. You don't really see how he gets saved, or because they obviously haven't got budget for it. But then he's on like a trawler or something, and he just don't fit in straight away. There's all like this weird like chuckle vision, like misunderstanding on what he's saying and what's going on and stuff. And then as it goes to leap boat, and they're all like, "Stop that man! Don't let him get off!" But as he's walking towards thing, out of nowhere, it seems like he's in a good mood. Like, I'm going to go and see Noah, etc. There's like a filing cabinet or something next to where he goes. He just picks it up and throws it. He's like, what's he angry about? Is he in a jovial mood? Like, I was going to see the size.
It's like he's a child still. Like, maybe he's thousands of years old, but he's still like a child. That's what I thought. He's like
definitely
juvenile.
immature. Yeah, immature. Yeah. What do you think of the gangsters?
Yeah. They were like caricatures of gangsters.
Hey, you better do well, see?
Yeah, exactly. All the top lips are like that. They're all talking like it.
Okay, pal, it's a bet.
Wait.
Like, imagine threatening that guy. There's these clearly overweight or undernourished gangsters are threatening Arnold or Hercules. The guy's a beast. I know he's not hugely tall, is he? He's not like overly tall, but he's like just this massive dude. You won't threaten him. No, you're just gonna bounce off him, innit?
They manage it for some reason. That's probably like you said, it is a little bit of a low point that everyone starts on him. Like they're not in prison or something, and they've got to beat up like the biggest man there to do it. It's just everyone's starting on him just for the sake of starting on him. But it's like that for me it's Pretzer. Everything about him, I enjoyed all the scenes they were in. His mannerisms, I'll let Ben talk about a little bit more in detail about him because I know he's got two things that irk him about him, Taxi and Ending, but I'll let him talk about that. And then the other thing that I love and I hate at the same time is the fact that obviously they didn't have a big budget. I think you said it was $300,000, didn't you, that budget were. All the shots of Mount Olympus, obviously in Central Park and everything, quite far away, costumes look alright and that. Every time there's a close-up scene, right, the costumes look a bit shit, right? But the worst thing is, Zeus obviously carries a lightning bolt around with him. Did you see it, Lee? Right? The lightning bolt is just a bit of rebar that someone's bent into a lightning bolt and then done a right crappy arrow on the end, spray painted silver, and he never actually even throws it. He's like, you see him like, no, stop, and he goes to throw it, and then he's like behind his back, and he's like, it's that. I love it and I hate it all in one.
Can I just say that would have been one of my high points, rebar.
Yeah, because I can't decide. Like, I love it because it's ridiculous that it's in, and I hate it because why did that get made into a prop? Who thought that were a good thing? Who signed that off? The director's like, this bit of rebar looks a bit like a lightning bolt straight into silver. We'll use that, and it's like. That's my only other like sort of Hercules really, but that not to be a pun, but there's lots of points in the film. I'll let you talk through them, Ben, because I know you've been chewing my ear off about Pretzer especially.
Well, I've got a few, but I don't want to get too much into them. But if we start off as an high point, like I would have said, the rebars were definitely an high point, but I think Lee's mentioned a few things that he's put as his low points, where I would say they're my high points. I absolutely loved the music. Like, honestly, I absolutely loved that it was set to that like Italian sort of vibe.
I got it earlier because I listened to it again. It's like that Greek like plate smashing music, you know that.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. It's like some weird like guitar like sort of old country music.
It just made me feel warm and fuzzy, and I just loved that. It was straight from them that sort of era, and I was like, that was just I just loved that, and just touching on the deities and that we mentioned it earlier that it's meant to be Greek, but then there's a lot of Roman deities stuffed in there and Italian stuff, and it's all a bit weird and hodgepodge. It's like
it don't matter, does it? When you're like in the 1970s, it's just like I know that name, that'll do.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems to fit.
That's what they did. Yeah, but I love the music. They loved the music straight away. Obviously, we loved Arnold's dubbing. Like, who don't love that dubbing?
Yeah, it worked. It shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have worked because we know Arnold so well. We know his voice. I'll be Mark. Everybody knows that ridiculous accent that he's got. But they took it out and it worked. And it shouldn't have worked. Yeah,
definitely an high point. And like Nathan, I love Pretzi. What a character! What an actor! Arnold Stang is his name. He should have won. He should have won an Oscar for this one. One bit
he was the standout. To be fair,
I love.
You know, he's been in over. He's been credited over 170 times. He has on IMDb.
I'm not surprised if he rolled in for a reading. You'd hire him there and then. He's a legend.
Oh, it were also Pink Panther. I forgot to mention as well. That's where you might know him from. Pink Panther. He did loads.
He's in loads.
Stuff,
he's in loads. He's in Captain Planet and the Planeteers. What?
Yeah.
He's in everything. I've had a look. I'm like, what? Really? He died in 2009. He was 91.
Oh, that was a sad day. We lost a legend.
Lost a great one.
But like I loved everything about him, and I was saying to Nathan earlier, like I really loved, or like it kind of irks me, but it didn't. Like, do you know when they get that taxi and he's like, "Driver, take us to Central Park," and then they get to Central Park. And it's like they pull up at Central Park. He's like, "Well, what do you know? It's Central Park. Who'd have thought it?"
What do you know? Central Park.
It's like, well, you just asked to get a...
Did I miss a bit? Who said that?
Pretzi. It's like you just got a taxi to Central Park, and then he's acting as if it's like, whoa, what we're doing here? Like, I would have never thought it. It's like,
you asked to go here, dickhead.
Yeah.
Is it one of those?
and then he gets, like, the only time in the film he gets really aggressive with Arnold. He's like, pay the man. He's like, what do you mean? And that, or whatever. Or like in his American voice, he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, pay the guy. He's not going to take us for free or whatever. And he gets very arsey with Arnold. And I thought that would be out of his character. But apart from that, like, we all love Pretzi.
I would say New York is about the biggest place there is. Pay the cabbie.
Pay him? What?
For the ride, $2.
Yeah, he's alright.
Yeah, Pretzi's more than alright.
We're alright. He's very good.
So, my last high point is, I'm going to say it's that man in a bear suit.
Oh, yeah.
That nobody mentioned yet.
No, I forgot. And I also read a note about it the other day. Apparently, you could see his shoes.
Probably.
Yeah, they said in a very small portion of it, when they're like what they're doing, you can see his shoes. The bear's got shoes on. So if I was a bear, I'd have shoes on.
It's a guy in a bear suit who's broken loose from the zoo. But what I love about it is that they're going past, that like Arnold's going past with his date, and they just see the bear, and he has to stop the carriage, get out, and just wrestle it. It's like he like just takes over him. He's like he has to fight this bear. There's like no need to fight it. It's not like attacking him or out. So yeah, that's definitely an high point.
Can I just say I'm going to say one low point, which I saw, you'll probably think is a high point because I think that's the way your brain works, isn't it? So there was you know that guy that was arguing about when he says about him being his lover. He just picks him up and holds him, doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
just like I'm watching you thinking that's awkward. Just snap him in two, just get it done with you. And he's just holding him like, I have you.
Hey, you see, his last name is Zeus. You know, it rhymes with booze.
You cannot move. And he's just holding him there, and he's like, "Hey Arnold, put him down! What are you doing? Put him down!" And then he puts him down. All right, clearly you're Pretzi's bitch. That's how that works.
Yeah,
I am Hercules. You do not tell me what to do. Just launches him.
They strike up a
It's a ridiculous
relationship
scene.
quite
Sorry, man.
quick.
It's a ridiculous scene. Go on.
They strike up that relationship quite quick, don't they? But another point I liked as well is when he's meant to be the devil, but he's called Pluto. He's the god from like the underworld. When he comes up to the to talk to Arnold, and I just liked the character, how they characterized him, and he's in that tombola hat and he's got his cane.
Oh, he looked very like I don't know. He looked very 60s English.
Yeah.
Like,
and he came up and he knocked all power out in New York because obviously he don't like the light. Which is quite a little touch like that. I quite like that.
That is a good touch, definitely. Yeah.
But as for the low points, there's not many. Like, I did actually like this film, but I'd say maybe, do you know the big ending scene where he fights all the gangsters in the it's like a newspaper room, innit, where they've got all spools of paper and stuff, and they're
not pipes, are they? The big spools of paper.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
And because he will say he loses his powers and then he gains them back, but he's fighting with all these guys, and the big finale stunt is, well, for one, basically the gangsters don't have guns, which is a bit weird. So he's fist fighting with gangsters, and the big stunt is that he pushes a gangster off this news spool from quite a height, and you're like, oh, and all goes in slow motion and that, but then he clearly lands on a crash mat. You can probably see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did you see there was that one where he because he's fighting with a couple of his mates, isn't he, like, who've come down from Mount Olympus.
Yeah, they help him, yeah.
Yeah, there's one where he climbs up like a crane. It's like one of those, it's like a lift, like a little, not crane, it's like an access like lift, isn't it? And he climbs up it and he just pushes that guy off, but you don't see him land, clearly.
Yeah.
It's like there's these barrels or something, he lands behind it, and like, well, that's a cop out.
Yeah.
That's an utter cop out right there.
That's what I mean. But they were working on
the crash mat. The crash mat you mentioned. I did see the crash mat.
Yeah,
you can see him just literally like sink into it and then come back. Like,
so they were working on a tight budget, and if you read the trivia, it does say that they filmed everything, including the chariot scene, without any sort of permission or out. They just like went and did it. Which I
love that.
Yeah, I love that.
Love that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger going through fucking New York with 2 horses.
Yeah.
And then just like some coppers are just looking at him like, what's he doing? I have no idea. Before they know it, he's gone.
Yeah.
It's just like, are we going to chase him? I think we'll scare the horses. Yeah. And because it's New York, they've just gone, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll call it that. So, my major low point, which I've told Nathan, is the ending, which you said you liked, but like, I could have shed a tear at this ending. I were invested at this point.
I didn't overly dislike the ending, which is kind of why I said that I liked it. I mean, I think Arnold's ending was very much like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah, not that. It's not that. It's the fact that he never said goodbye to Pretzi. And I'm like, I love Pretzi, and he deserved it. No, he said it on his shitty radio. He deserved a big hug, and they're like, I'll never forget you, and all that, and I were like choking up. I like the bit when he were like, if you want me, I'll be there, and all that. Like, me and Nathan said it's a bit like Labyrinth.
And remember, fair maiden, should you need us,
with like, if you should need us. But I felt very sorry for Pretzi, man. He needed a big hug, and
he was crying. Did you see him crying?
Yeah, I was crying. I was nearly crying.
Don't grieve, my friend. In the memory it leaves us, separation may have a quiet happiness all its own.
But I think Pretzi had the best ending in terms of what happened, because, like I say, he was sad.
Yeah,
we can't always have a great ending. That's
but
the cliche, isn't it?
That film's set up for an ending like that. It needed to have a big embrace between Pretzi and Arnold. They were best friends. Like, it were like Pretzi were like, "We did it, did we? We did it, Herc." It's like, we showed him. We showed him. It was like best thing he'd ever done in his life.
Herc, where'd you go, Herc?
Yeah.
And he'll always remember it. And it were a bit of a cop out that he got that shitty thing off at radio. That I'm a bit disappointed at. Like, but apart from that, I'll let it slide.
Yeah. I liked the fact that they made Zeus into some letrosol guy who was like, I'm going to go down to Earth and see what I can get away with. He's like, I'm going.
And last time he went down there, he fucking shagged a human and got her pregnant with her. So he's going down there for pictures. Yeah. We know.
Exactly.
Don't fool us at fucking Zeus. We know what you're up to. But that's my highs and lows. Overall, obviously, I absolutely loved it. I love watching old films. It's warm and fuzzy. It gives you that fuzzy feeling. It's nice and it's got a heart to it. That's what I liked about it.
I think
it's got a bit of heart.
We've mentioned it before. I think, like you guys have both said, I think Pretzi was, if it wasn't for him and his character and his passion that he was putting into it, and I think he's a reasonably good actor as well.
He plays off Arnie right well, because like Nathan said, Arnie can be a bit of a dickhead, but because Pretzi balances it out. It's like yin and yang. Yeah. That relationship, you invest.
Yeah, it worked, and his ending, sad ending, and then just there was the sadness, and then the stupidity, and then the non-conclusion of Arnold. There was very much he's gone. Yeah. It's like, because he's like went up to Zeus and was like, I'm back, and Zeus was like, go away. And then he just walked off, didn't he? And he's like, oh, he's gone now. That's it.
Yeah, he was like, he just like took it on board straight away. He was like, your word is the law, Zeus. I believe you now. Like, all he did was get his powers took away from him. I don't think he learned his lesson really, but
he did. Still a dickhead. Yeah, still a dickhead.
But like I said, I like that aspect that his character was quite childish. I thought that worked well. Like, because he did, like we mentioned earlier, he got a bit exploited as well about being like a wrestler, which they've never shown him wrestling. They're just shown him like being a great world-class wrestler and headlines and that. But yeah, that's my view of film. Obviously, we've all had his little say on it. I think we all kind of liked it, didn't we? Even if you don't want to admit.
I liked it. I mean, I'm a bit of a harsh critic on a lot of your film choices, but I think it was crap, but it was good enough that I watched it all the way through.
Yeah, it was crap in a good way.
It was,
which is what a B movie is. This is the essence.
It epitomizes one. Yeah.
Would you have watched it if Arnold wasn't in it?
It wouldn't have been of note. Like, I wouldn't have ever picked it up.
It wouldn't have been on the radar, would it?
No, it wouldn't have been on the radar. But if I'd have stumbled across it on TV and I'd have started watching it, and it had some other guy in it, maybe I'd have carried on watching it, especially because of Pretzi.
I've got my rating for it.
So now we'll go around the rating system. Obviously, we're scoring out of 10, as always. We'll let Lee take first dibs on it. See what he's.
Okay, hear me out. You've got to wait till the end on this one. So, I'm going to say 5.5.
Oh.
But
he sounds like he's drinking beer now. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh. Right, now I need to reassess this. Okay, I'm going to change slightly. I'm going to say a 5. Without Arnold. Without Arnold. But with Arnold, I will say it gets a 6. I'm going to give it a 6. And I think it can't have any more. But it is crap, but it's good crap. I can appreciate the crap that's in it. Because a lot of it's kind of, it's not crap that you go, oh my god, that's so rubbish. It's crap. It's that rubbish where you're watching it, it's like, oh, that's a bit rubbish, that, but you kind of find it amusing. And it carries it a little bit. So it's going to have to be rounded off at a 6 for me, mainly because of Arnold. And I had less appreciation for Pretzi before this conversation. I believe this conversation has actually made me appreciate him a little bit more. And it could have easily dropped. It could have easily been a 4. But the character of, let's say, Arnold Stang's Pretzi and just the fact that Arnold is there doing his Arnold thing. And I think you do see a little bit of arrogant Arnold with the muscle popping. I think that's a bit, you kind of see a bit of it like, that wasn't in the script really, was it? Him to just like, woof, 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 just doing that. So, a 6. 6, I'm not changing.
That's fair. 6. And what about you, Nate?
I've struggled with this one because of the scores I've given the other films. For me personally,
I didn't even check. Oh my god, I didn't even check. I should have checked what I gave the other ones.
I can't remember. I can't remember what I gave them, but I gave them. I'm sure that I gave one of them a 7, and I wanted to give this one. I feel like I need to give this a 6 only because I've given one of the others a 7, and I don't think for me this one doesn't sit in the same league as the others. I preferred all the others to this one, but I still really, really like this one. And then you've got, for me, there's no really low points that would knock it down, so I can't give it anything less.
You are not allowed to like Deadly Prey more than this film.
I'm just going to go ahead and say I like Deadly Prey more than this film.
Have I seen you since Deadly Prey, since we watched Deadly Prey?
No.
Deadly Prey is bona fide classic.
Because obviously when we watch these films, we watch them on his own or whatever. Us three aren't together or anything when we watch them, and because it's a singular viewing, and normally we're watching it like for a review purpose. Do you know what I mean? There's an intent to why we're watching it. I score them to that, but then I score them a different way, and I try and choose a between. And my other way is if I'm sat around with my mates watching this film, and I'm a little bit pissed and we've got a takeaway or whatever, what rating would I feel about it then? And it's always higher than if I watch it on my own, obviously. And I think this film has got a lot of good parts in it where I could have a laugh about it, or I could enjoy it with my mates. So for that reason alone, and because you give it a 6, so that means I can't, I'm going to give it a 7. But that would drop to a 6 if I've give Deadly Prey a 7. But I don't think I have. I'm sure our lowest has been an 8 or maybe 7.5. I can't remember. This is not the best out of the roll, but it's definitely, well, it is the worst. But it's not the worst film.
It's worth a watch though, isn't it?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
The only reason I would never watch it again unless I was with my mates watching it. Do you know what I mean?
It's worth watching for Arnold, I think. If you're an Arnold fan, which personally I am, I love a lot of Arnold films. I think it's worth watching because it's his roots. Why would you not want to watch? Why would you not want to watch? Exactly, Ben. Why would you not want to watch something he came from? You know, I think it's worth it for that.
He is numero uno, so it does need a watch, and it had. I didn't mention it before, but to me, it had like a sort of Carry On vibe to it, but like the American version, like sort of Carry On. It had that innocence, but there's no like we said at the beginning. It is a you, and there's no swearing. There's not one swear word in it. There's no nudity. There's not even any like sort of hint on nudity or anything like that.
Mount Olympus needs more boobs, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, if it were made now, it would definitely have fallen out all over. But that it is 100% a safe film. It's a film that you could play on a screen on a bus. You know what I mean? That public would be able to watch, and there's nothing offensive, nothing thingy. And obviously, it weren't taking risks. It was 1970. But yeah, I'll stick at a 7, and I would. Anybody who's not seen it, I would strongly suggest watching it, especially if, like what Lee said, you're an Arnie fan. What are you saying, Ben? What's your governing vote on this?
Right, so Obviously,
what ridiculous number are you going to give it to
no,
Left Field?
no. I'll keep it sensible. I'll keep
It's
it
an 11
sensible.
out of 10.
I'll keep it sensible. I do love Arnie. I could, like Nathan said, I could see myself. Like, this is the first time I've seen this film, but I could see myself watching it with my mates, like, over and over, and loving it more and more. But unlike the other films we've watched, I've never seen this. So the other films I'd seen multiple times, and like I said, more I dig into them, more I loved them. So this is the first time, as a first time viewing, I'll give it a rating as a first time viewing. But I do think that I would rate it higher if I had watched it multiple times, because I can see Miss N loving this film. So I did really like it. Obviously, if you're an Arnold fan, you've got to watch it. I mean, I'm a massive Arnold fan. I'd never seen it, and I was like, we need to set this straight and we need to watch it. So that's why we watched it. So straight out of park, I think I would agree with Nathan, and I would say it's a 7. So 7 out of 10. It's got a lot going for it. It's a bit hokey. It's a bit shit, but that's what you want in a B movie. And it's got Arnold, and it's got the other Arnold, who's just as good as Arnold Stang. So, do you know what I mean? What more do you want?
Yeah.
You've got Top Cat, you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you've got Mount Olympus and New York.
You've got Beastman from He-Man. I mean,
exactly, and you've got some dude who plays Beastman, yeah. So,
exactly.
like I said,
out of 30, that's a 15, by the way.
You what? Sorry.
If that would be out of 30, because if we do out of 10, don't we? That would be a 15.
Yeah, bang in middle. But this is a bit better if we're out of 10, aren't we? So we're saying 7, and you're saying a 6. So maybe 6.5 overall.
So I'll be happy if it was a 6. Yeah, if it was a 6 point. Sorry, I did it the wrong way. But yeah, 6.5 I think would be fair.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
It's definitely recommended to watch. It's just like a feel-good film. Like, it's just innocent. It's good for a laugh. It's got some good scenes. It's got some good dialogue. I mean, what's not to like it, especially when you've got a 10% beer in your hand?
Yeah. I think it is one of them films that you do need a little bit of a stronger beer to appreciate. But it's worth it just. Yeah, it's just for Pretzi. I mean, out of all the people in the film, the Hercules character, I feel as though his story's played out. I'd watch another film with Pretzi in. Do you know if they made like a Pretzi goes to LA? Yeah, if there were Pretzi spin-off, I'd be all over that. So, and that's he had good character development. I mean, his motivations didn't really make sense, and his backstory didn't. But that's what it is, and I enjoyed him as a person.
We love Pretzi.
Yeah.
He's got our seal of approval. Fuck Arnold. I'm going to get Pretzi as numero uno. Maybe this means Arnold Stang is numero uno. That's what it means.
That we're going to have to make these T-shirts and start selling them. Arnold Stang is numero uno. I mean, we've got... I don't know if we've mentioned it before on podcast, but we were planning on doing like an Oscars, weren't we, at the end?
Yeah.
End of the series for each of the characters, like for the best character or whatever. I think Pretz is going to be, for me, he's the best one.
He gets a nomination. He gets a nomination for sure.
I'm nominating him now for that. So he's when it comes around to the Oscars,
maybe we could pick a couple out. We could pick a couple out of each film.
Obviously, Mike Dan.
We could tear make them, couldn't we?
Yeah.
That would be good.
We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Pretz is going to win.
We're saying 6.5 overall, which would be his lowest ranked film, but that shouldn't deter you from watching it. You should definitely check it out. It's not a bad film at all. It's definitely not a 3.3.
No,
I think that's overly harsh, actually.
Yeah, definitely. So that's about it, innit? We've had his beers, we've had his movie. So if we just wrap it up now, next month is obviously October, and we all know what that means, especially when it comes to B movies. It means it's a big fat Halloween styly movie. We're not gonna go too like cliche, but we're gonna dish some zombies up, and maybe like this film where like you'd heard of it because it were Arnold. This next film you might have heard of it because it's somebody called Peter Jackson who directed it. Some people might have heard of him.
Is it that film? Okay.
I just know him from like B movies. I don't even know what else he's directed. Yeah, but
Lord of the Rings.
He directs some pretty mint B movies, and the next one is an out-and-out classic. And I I swear down, Lee will like this film, and I know
I've
he'll
seen
like
it already.
this
I've
film.
already seen it.
Oh, have you seen it?
Oh.
What? You've just ruined it. But well,
the flap on the back of the head, and he puts the brain back in.
I can tell he loves it anyway. But yeah, we're watching Peter Jackson's Brain Dead or Dead Alive, depending on which version you watch. It's the same film, it's got 2 titles. It's quite absurd zombie film, obviously New Zealand. It's a classic, and we are pairing it with a lager because if you were going to say a beer was like any sort of monster, it would be a zombie because there's just hordes of lager, hordes of zombies, hordes of the undead. It will not die. This is a proper good beer to have a proper good film with. So we're going to sit back, we're going to watch that, we're going to dissect it. We'll do it a bit like this one. We'll just say highs and lows, and I'm sure Lee will love this one. This is a fucking classic.
Yeah, like I said, I have seen it before, but I could safely say it was over 20 years ago. I think I've seen it. So
well, if I know you say a lot of films live and die by their ending, and this one definitely lives by its ending because the last 20 minutes is absolutely insane. So we'll see what we think of it anyway after a fresh viewing. But yeah, watch Weir's, get loads of lager. I'm sure anybody can get lager. We'll all select some lagers and we'll have a fucking laugh, and it'll be Halloween, and we'll watch some zombie films and we'll get wrecked. So yeah, so that's it for this episode. I've been your host Ben. So I'll say goodbye, and I'll pass over to Nathan.
Yeah, and I've been Nathan. Bye.
And I've been Lee. Make sure you check the links below to our Sages Retreat podcast, where we talk about lots of wonderful stuff, including games, films. You can find it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, all over the place, including, of course, YouTube. This has been Beer and Bad Movies. Ben, Nathan, big thanks for being part of this, as always. Ben, thanks for organising it all. You're fantastic. And I've been Lee, and we'll catch you soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.